for practice as well. Now that brings us to step number 6. But if you are a 4-year-old teacher in this room, you stop at step number 5. But what that means is when I pull out one of my 4-year-old readers, they will be able to read words or stories with 1 and 2 vowel words. They will be able to read at the end of 4-year-old kindergarten. But 5-year-old kindergarten, we're going to teach 49 of the 132 phonic sounds. First grade, we teach all 132. Second grade, we review all 132. A special sound. You may be more familiar with the term diphthong, digraph. Those terms make phonics science. And at this age level, we don't want it to become scientific. So what Abeka has done is taken all of these rules, these special sounds, and have dumped them under the umbrella of special sound. Okay, so that's a term that will continue from K5 all the way up when you see letters that are put together. For example, THR is a special sound. If I didn't teach THR, my student reading this word could say hurry. But if I teach them THR says thur, then they can read three, thrill, throat, through, etc. So teaching a special sound helps them to be a more accurate reader. It lays the foundation for good spelling skills, and it takes the guesswork out of reading. So all of these are special sounds, again, dumped under that umbrella word. Grades 1 and 2 use these charts. When you teach a chart, you're going to read through these sounds very clear and crisp. For example, I would say, thur in 3, THR, thur, thur, thur. R in stars, A-R, R. Ch in church, C-H, ch, ch, ch. Okay, let's go back to these 3. Join me. Ready, begin. Thur in 3, THR, thur, thur, thur. R in stars, A-R, R. Ch in church, C-H, ch, ch, ch. Now the benefit of saying the sound. If I had somebody who put a vowel with that CH sound, I'm going to hear it during this. So would some of you purpose to do it wrong? Okay, so I want to know who my bad children will be. Of course, so you smile with that. So here we go. In church, C-H. Okay, so did you hear what I heard? So now I could say, it says, ch. Ready, begin. Ch. Pat yourselves on the back, you fixed it. Okay, so the benefit of the 3 times at the end is hearing, are they truly saying it correctly? The other benefit of saying it 3 times at the end. If I have a struggling student, and let's say he's reading, comes across the word church, okay, and he's looking at it and he shakes his head and he says, I don't know. Do you see a special sound in this word? Yes. What is it? He says, in church, C-H. That's how some people teach these phonics charts, so this is why I'm making this point. And if I say to him, sound it out, what was the last thing in his brain? C-H. What do I want to be the last thing in his brain? So if I teach in church C-H or in morning O-R, and I have a struggling student, the spelling, though it's important, is not what I want to be the last thing in his brain. The sound is the most important. So if you are teaching phonics special sounds in this upcoming school year, make it a point to add the sound right at the end. Okay, you'll notice that a couple sounds are spelled the same but have different sounds. Ow and owl, O in bold, they're both O-W. Ow and out and ow and owl. Spelled differently, but they have the same sound. Ow and out is not the 2-vowel word rule. These are things that you're going to have to point out to your students. How do you tell if it's ow and owl or O and bowl? You've just got to do a test. Does it make sense to sound it one way or the other? And then there would be some words that, for example, the word no. K-N-O-W says no, but they also recognize the word now. So if they're doing a test, is it no, is it now? Those are both good words. You just have to, remember the spelling of that special sound. So these charts are very helpful in that regard. When you're teaching a phonics special sound, you have a basic phonics flashcard. So kindergarten through second grade teachers would use these. It's the sound, the picture, and the clue word there. Sn in snack, SN. Sn, sn, sn. When you see SN together, it says sn. Sn in snack, SN. Sn, sn, sn. Ready? Begin. Sn in snack, SN. Sn, sn, sn. Sn in snack, SN. Sn, sn, sn. Now, if you were tallying how many times I just said the sound, you would have greater than 8 times. Why? Because the sound is the most important. So I would ask the students, where do you see your special sound in this word? They would say, or in these words, at the beginning. What does our special sound say? Sn, sn, sn. How do we mark our special sound? With a circle. Look at this first word. How many vowels sound it out? Sneeze. Read this word. Sniff. Use it in a sentence. I will sniff the flower. Sniff. So this, if I can find rhyming words, if I can develop language art skills, that's very helpful. A lot of times there is a teaching tip on the back of these cards that will help you teach these sounds. Again, the purpose of these sounds, the more I know application of these, the faster reader and the better speller I will be. Coordinating with these special sounds are blend cards. Now we have the blend A, consonant and vowel. Now we have blend B, which is the phonics special sound and the vowel. So we would read sn, ah, sna, 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 sna. And I didn't fix my cards, excuse me here. Ready? Begin. Sn, ah, sna, 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 sna. Sn, I, sni, 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 sni. Sn, ah, sna, 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 sna. Sn, sna, 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 sna. Now read them. Snap, snap, snip, sna, sna. Now because I've already taught the 2-vowel word rule, I'll say now for the mix-up, and I will mix my long and short vowel sounds. This side of the room, please. Can you think of a word that starts with snake? A snake is what I was thinking of. I don't want to meet up with a snake. That is right, and you have to watch that mark. Check it. It has a stick, so it says its name, Snoo. Check it. Oh, you are right. Yes? Okay, so be aware of what's on your card so you can help them and you can slip through. We obviously did whole group, but I would get to individuals having them read words using them in sentences. And then you also see a second set of cards there. Those are clue word cards where it just simply has the phonics special sound and the clue word on the back, and that's for quick speed and recognition there. Now, if all of this is brand new, and you're like, I have no idea what you're talking about, I've never heard about these special sounds before, this isn't how I've taught them before, there is a basic phonics sound CD. And this CD goes from A says as an apple through all 132 special sounds. Now my parents are New Yorkers, but I have lived in southern states all my life. Louisiana, Texas, Virginia, and then to Pensacola, which might as well be part of Alabama for how close it is to Alabama. And when I was teaching, I really had to work on this. The word P-U-R-E, how do you say it? I said pure. The word C-U-R-E. I said cure. So when I was teaching, U-R-E is a special sound. Literally, I would listen to this CD and I'd get it in my head, and the only way I could say it correctly was if I squeezed my cheeks. You're impure. Otherwise, I said you're impure. But it's your. But so I knew I had 30 students in my first grade classroom every year. So if I taught them wrong, then I have these 30 students as they go up saying these words incorrectly. So if you recognize that you say some words, or if you have an accent, or if English isn't your first language, don't be too proud to listen to the CD and get the sounds in your head and do it the right way there. So what we've just done is taken all of the pieces of our phonics puzzle, so to speak. You know, when you go to Walmart and you buy a puzzle, what do you do before you put it together? You dump all the pieces out, you turn them over, and then what are the first pieces that you get for? The edges, right? And then you fill it. And that's exactly what we've just done. We've taken the pieces of the phonics program, the 6 steps of phonics. Anybody, whether you're a reading specialist in this room, a homeschool mom, a high school teacher, you could teach anybody how to read with the knowledge that you have in this session. So basically, we could say, all right, you can go home now, because you've got the secret. But we know there's a little more to it, don't we? But this is the foundation, this is the basis of how you teach a student to read. So what we're going to do in the second part of this session is talk about the phonics class. But you need to get up and stand up a little bit so we can talk about that. Old MacDonald had a farm.
Old MacDonald had a farm. And on this farm he had a cat. With a here and a there, here and there, everywhere. Old MacDonald had a farm. Old MacDonald had a farm. And on this farm he had a hen. With a here and a there, here and there, everywhere. Old MacDonald had a farm. Old MacDonald had a farm. And on this farm he had a pig. With a pig here and a pig there, here and there, everywhere. Old MacDonald had a farm. Old MacDonald had a farm. And on this farm he had a dog. With a here and a there, here and there, everywhere. Old MacDonald had a farm. Old MacDonald had a farm. And on this farm he had a duck. With a here and a there, here and there, everywhere. Old MacDonald had a farm.
You can be seated. Now, that was just our little momentary mental break before we go to phonics class. Now, this teacher is not teaching phonics. She's teaching a Bible lesson. These are 3-year-olds. But look how attentive they are. When you are doing a teaching class, when you are instructing, whether it's Bible, whether it's phonics, you want to draw their attention. And you do that with your face. You do that with your voice. I mean, I could have stood up here and said, what are our 5 vowels? A, E, I, O, U. What are the sounds of 5 vowels? You know, but hopefully you saw a little more life and you heard a little more vocal variety. And, you know, honestly, my students rarely struggled with expression in their reading because they heard it all day. But that's what you want to do. You want to draw your students in. Look at this next picture. The next one I'm going to show you is a 4-year-old kindergarten class. Look at the chalkboards. Just let your eyes go over it as we listen to another curriculum song download. This is one of the free songs. By the way, Old MacDonald is another one of those free songs. But this one that you'll listen to is called the Vowel Song.
A says a, E says e, I says I. O says U says I know my vowels, A, E, I, O, U.
It's a little calmer than Old MacDonald. Now it's your turn to join.
A says a, E says e, I says I. O says U says I know my vowels, A, E, I, O, U.
So just let your eyes look at this picture. You've got large alphabet cards. You've got your blend ladders. You have your phonics charts. You have words up on the board. This chalkboard is what the students are staring at all day long. So take time to do colors. Take time to make it inviting as much as you can because they are staring at it. One time, and I've shared this story before, we have some people in this room who have attended some of my workshops that I've given at conventions. So forgive me if I am repeating the story for you. But I had a little girl who came in. The routine was you come in, I say good morning to you, you unpack your bag, and then you go to your table, and I would have whether books or coloring paper or some kind of hands-on activity for them to do until it was time for the restroom, and then Bible would start our day. Okay, so this little girl, Allison is her name, she came in, I said, good morning, Allison. She didn't say anything to me. And this is unusual. Allison always said good morning. And I looked at her, and she dropped her bags on the floor. Like, wait a minute, this is Allison. She doesn't do this. So I'm watching her, and in my classroom, I had an 8-foot board in the front, and I have an 8-foot board on the side of the room. And, I'll put things up there and colorful and all. And Allison's eyes just got bigger and bigger. And then all of a sudden, she picked up her bags, and she turned to me, and she said, good morning, Miss Wieler. It's going to be a great day. And she unpacked her bags, and she went on, and she did what she was going to do. And that has stayed with me all these years. She's now going to be a senior in college, so that tells you how many years ago this was, but it has stayed with me. And that little girl, all I had said to her was good morning. But what made her eager to be at school that day is what she saw up on the board. So yes, it takes a little bit of extra time just to add grass to the bottom of the board, or to have colors, or to put things to make it look special. It takes extra time, but isn't getting the children to walk through the door half the battle? We want them to be eager about that. So if you are in a situation where you tutor for reading, do you have an environment that's welcoming? Do you have something that makes them look forward to coming to see you during their special times that they work with you? What is it that draws them in, that gives them pleasure? You kind of have to sell them on, this is supposed to help you. This is supposed to be fun. This is supposed to be interesting. So do what you can. Children love colors, and they love these special things that you can do for them. So that was just all about that picture. I think sometimes, what's the saying? A picture is worth 1,000 words. And so you just let your eyes go over that. And sometimes, I know we have junior high and high school people here, sometimes I think we forget about how visual we are, and into a junior high and high school classroom, and it's just maybe a few terms up on the board and that's it. Infuse life even in through the high school years. They need that as well. So teaching the phonics class, how is it that we're going to put all of these pieces together to make them work? Well, it's when we follow a curriculum lesson plan. And if you use Abeka, that lesson plan comes in a great big binder, or maybe you have an individual spiral binder. And these pages are your what and when. What to teach, when to teach, but the how to teach it is up to you. That gives you opportunity to infuse your creativity and add life to the subject. And, as a teacher, the Lord has given you that creativity. So put your personality into it. When I was teaching first grade at Pensacola Christian Academy, there were 12 first grades. 30 students in a classroom, 12 first grades. And our principal, there's just a principal for grade 1, because there's over 300 students. And she would go in, she would observe, or she'd do walkthroughs and all, and every single one of us would be on the exact same lesson number, teaching the exact same special sound, but she would see 12 different personalities. And that's fine. This guide is just that. It is a guide. It's not the Bible. The Bible, we don't choose what we want to obey and not. We obey God's holy word. But this, as a guide, it's a help. The what and the when, but how you do it, that's your creativity. If you want to put on a special visual, instead of using this card, and you want to have airplanes cut out, and you put P out on the airplanes, that's fine. That's your creativity. So you'll notice some of that in our video clips a little bit later on. Phonics class is usually taught about 20 minutes, and because it is an academic subject, they should be in their chairs. There's a big trend in education about having them on the floor and all, but what happens when they're on the floor? You saw our 3-year-olds on the floor. That's fine. That was story time. That was Bible time. But our 3-year-olds for phonics, you know where they are? In their chair. Because if you're on the floor, you're playing with your shoes, You say, I can't see. You're crawling on the floor. Now all of a sudden you accidentally sat on the hair of the girl in front of you, or you pulled it or kneed it or whatever. So now you're just opening up all kinds of discipline problems that you're spending your time instead of teaching. So if it's an academic subject, keep them at a chair. That way they're attentive. So 2 parts of every lesson plan, preparation and procedure. Preparation, what you do the night before. So this is day 25. There's 170 lessons, typically in a 180-day school year. So that gives you 10 days for, if you have weather or field trips or academic testing, etc. And then the visuals are always listed in the order of use. So you've seen me pull from my stack on this side, and I've put it back here, and you know it's already crisscrossed for my next meeting that I would go to. So it's just, you have everything ready. If you have to go to a cabinet or someplace to dig out flashcards, what's going to happen with your students? They're going to get wiggly. They're going to, the same thing. If you're in a homeschool situation and you don't have what you need right there, your window of attention is now diminished. So have everything out the night before. And here's an inside scoop with the Abeka curriculum. If the words are in print, print them on the chalkboard. If they're in cursive, put them in cursive on the chalkboard. Maybe you didn't know that. That's just a little inside scoop on how that was intended to be used. So that was your preparation the night before. And then your procedure, there will always be some kind of warm-up review, your instruction, your lesson, and then your application. 3 parts to every single lesson, no matter what age level you teach. So with regard to oral review, there's benefit to review. That's where you get the blood going. That's where you're practicing the vowels. That's where you're singing some of these songs. This is where you can do some of these special, fun activities. But keep to your time schedule. If I have a 20-minute phonics class, 5 to 7 minutes of that would be for review. But sometimes if we're playing a game, it can go and go and go and go, and you look at your clock, which I'm so thankful there's a nice great big clock here in the back of the room, so I want you to know I am watching the time as I say this. But do keep to the time schedule, because if you spend 10 minutes on a game, you're going to run short on the main part of the lesson. So do keep aware of the time. In my curriculum, I penciled it in. If phonics started at 9 o'clock, from 9 o'clock to 9:02, I'm doing basic phonics flashcards. From 9:02 to 9:04, I'm doing clue word, whatever it may be. I was that specific in penciling it in because I know keeping to a time schedule is a #1 weakness that I have. I just get caught up in all the fun. So even when I was doing the video, they had countdown papers for me, and there were times I would just purposely ignore it. I didn't want to look at it because we were having fun. And some of the students watching that I've met throughout the years, they would say, Ms. Wieler, if there's anything you could do differently, could you make arithmetic shorter? Well, arithmetic was 40 minutes on video. I'm like, no, and I was pushing to get it in 40 minutes because of all the fun we could do. But that's part of it. Do you have fun with your review? Do you just look at a lesson plan and say, oh, I'm supposed to go over these cards, you get the cards out, and that's where your thinking stops? Or do you go the next step and say, how am I going to review? That's why I get caught up in the time, because I'm thinking the how and making it interesting for them. Whether it's just having a gift bag and putting these cards in a gift bag and it's the element of surprise of pulling them out, that is huge for them. So in your mind, recognize the importance of the review, get to the individual. Everything we've done today has been whole class. But if I were to give you a test, would I find some surprises perhaps on our test? Absolutely. Because even your weakest children are smart enough to know in a class time, all they have to do is move their mouth and they don't get in trouble. But you have no idea what they're saying. So when you get to the individual, that highlights what they know and what they don't know. Have variety. Nobody likes to do the same thing over and over again. So whether it's, they always face the front of the room, turn and face the back of the room, turn and face the side of the room, have them get down real low, have them change their voices, have them do those different things that would add variety, and then multitask. If I have children working at the chalkboard, you better believe I'm going to have flashcards in hand to make sure that I'm using my time wisely. So what we're going to do now is watch a series of video clips. The first one's just about a minute. The second one is about 3 minutes. The green slide is kindergarten. The blue slide is first grade. when you notice when it's kindergarten, it's 4-year-olds. Okay, so we go from a 4-year-old to a 6-year-old class. Notice the pace difference. Notice the expectation. The review that you're going to see for kindergarten gets them personally involved. The review in the elementary classroom starts out with group and then gets to individual. So see if you can see these points into our video time.
I have an apple. And you know what we're going to do? I'm going to have a whole table come up here and stand like this, and they're going to say, capital A, little A says as an apple, A says a. And then they're going to give it to their friend right beside them. And then they're going to say, capital A, little A says as an apple, A says a. We better practice. Class stand. Capital A, little A. A says as an apple, A says a. Be seated. Table number 2, come up. Come quickly. Table 2, right here. Now, stand right here. When the apple comes to you, then you will say the sentence. Aaron, you start. Say it nice and clear.
Capital A, little A. A says a as an apple. A says a as an apple. A says a.
Capital.
Little A.
Begin. Bird, ride, B-R, dirt, jump. Second grade way. Bird, ride, B-R, dirt, jump. Purr and pray. Gurr and grin. Snooty smoke. Scoot and scout. Scoot and skate. Spit and spade. Curr and crack. Squid and twins. Spool and splash. Spur and spring. Scurr and scream. Squid and squeak. Soon and snack. Soul and sleep. Stir and stream. Split and swim. Woo, that was great. I need table 3. Line up right here. Table 1. Line up right here. Now face in a straight line. Face me. Face me. I'm going to say a special sound. The first one to spell it, you get, if it's right, you go to the end of your line. We'll see which table is faster. Don't yell at me, please. Bird right. You get to go to the end. Goodbye. Twins. Stay. Goodbye. Gurr and grin. Stay. Goodbye. Pull and play. Sue's watching. Could you tell who that was? I am fly. Goodbye, both of you. Help them. Sue's watching. I am fly. Why? Next. Soon smoke. Stay. Goodbye. Stir and stream. Stir and stream. Goodbye. And now, come a little bit closer. Emma Brady, current crowd. Emma and Blake, dum-de-dum-dum. In this. No, I said the wrong sound. In this. Furry frog. She got you by a hair. Hand up. Table 1, say way to go, Emma. Class stand. Ready, begin. Cool and clock. Full and play. Skirt and scream. Turn and train. Spur and sprain. Watch for me to go to your table. We'll go around the block first. Go. I like how you're staying together. Good, Josh. Two sounds. That is hard with the missing tooth, isn't it, Selena? Okay, a couple things that you may have noticed. There's a clipboard there with the curriculum.
You don't have to memorize your lessons. You have the curriculum in front of you. That's a good way to use it. Did you notice that the visuals were on the chalk tray? So it was just one thing to the other, and it wasn't an explanation of now we're going to do this. Could you tell that training had happened? They knew what we were going to do. Speed. They got going pretty fast, didn't they? And that was at the earlier part of the year. But when they're trained how to do it and practicing the sounds, you can have that speed. It's not all about speed, but you can encourage them that way. I did have one teacher come up to me one year when I had shown this video, and she said, "Miss Wieler, you said goodbye. That makes them feel badly." Like if you could have seen their faces, they were having a good time. They liked that. That wasn't anything special. So, you be aware of your class and what they can handle, and they knew I loved them, and that worked well. But age appropriate. So kindergarten, did you notice how they were so proud to be at the front of the room? Did you notice the little boy that was pointing to his head, trying, helping the other little girl right next to him? Train your students that when others are practicing, that they can move their mouth, they can whisper, quietly, so that they're practicing too. So your oral review, keep it moving. The second part of every phonics class is when you're teaching, whether it's a new sound, whether that's a vowel, a consonant, whether it's a phonics special sound, 7 to 8 minutes of your phonics class. This is the bulk of your time. Introduction. Avoid saying, our new letter for today is, come on, you all are creative people, and if you're not, ask the Lord to help you to be creative. And if that still doesn't work, go to your next door teacher and say, hey, I'm going to be teaching the letter W. Do you have any ideas? And see, and share ideas that way. A lot of times with an introduction, I would tell it as a story and see if they can pick up on the sound. You're going to see in our next video clip that our 4-year-old teacher uses a puppet to introduce the sound. So there are various ways that you can do it, but whether it's sticking it in a bag, whether it's just simply reading, planet, plus, please, plan, plate, plug. What do you hear in all of those words? Pull in, plane, PL, and then you go into teaching that special sound. So your introduction. Now the next word, you've already heard me say this once today, memory clue. Okay, when I'm teaching pull in plane, the story I might use is, imagine if we tied a rope to the front of an airplane and I wanted you to move that airplane. What would you say? You pull, you pull, you pull, you pull, you pull. That's the same sound as when you say pull in plane, PL. Imagine you're pulling on a rope. Pull, pull, pull. Let's say it together. Pull in plane, PL. Pull, pull, pull. That's a memory clue. So when they see PL together, they think of pulling on that rope. This is the one that the children missed on the video. It's not Y in fly, it is I in fly. Why does a fly have such big eyes? I don't know why. I in fly, why, I. See what I just did? It was a play on words. The name of this letter is Y. Why does a fly have such big eyes? I don't know why. I in fly, why, I. So then when they read this, they read it as buy, try, fry, my. All of these words sound the same. Words whose endings sound the same are called rhyming words. So I in fly, why, I. One time, I'll hold this illustration to our next slide.
Look at our new letter. Here is capital A, and this is little a. Look what little a looks like. He's wearing a little hat today. Little a looks different. He can look a lot of different ways. Look right here. Here is little a, and little a looks different than this little a. But you know what? They say the same thing. This is capital A. This is little a. And A says, ah. That's what it says. A says, ah. As an apple. Could you hear ah in apple? Now I know why Amber brought an apple to school Listen carefully. Capital A, little a. A says a as in apple. A says a. Wonder if those other things have something to do with A. Well, we'll practice and we'll find out. Class, stand. Boys and girls that are watching, practice the new sound with us. Here we go. Capital A, little a. A says a as in apple. A says a. Let's do it again. Capital A, little a. A says a as in apple. A says a. Be seated. Now, I'm going to go over here to Amber and see if she wants me to. It just seems most unusual that Amber has an axe. Amber, I can hear our new letter in axe. Could you hear it? Could you boys and girls that are watching hear that new sound? Well, that's why she brought it. That must be why she didn't want to chop down a tree in our class.
Okay, so what she just did, obviously the review that we saw would have come after this part of the lesson with the children were passing their apples. But she was very clear in her speech. She was animated about it, and the children were drawn into their lesson. So now as we're talking about special sounds, you still have your introduction, you still have memory clues, but if you are a kindergarten, first, second grade teacher and teaching special sounds, if you're taking notes, would you jot down these 3 things? You're not going to find this in the Abeka curriculum. This is a teaching tip for you to make it a little bit better for practice. So I've just taught, pull and play PL. You'll notice this card is yellow, this card is purple. We're in the middle of revisions. Kindergarten has been revised, first grade will be revised this next school year. So that's why these cards, formerly yellow, will now be purple. So we're kind of in between here, but they say the same thing. There's only a few cards that have had some word changes to them. So I've taught it, I've gone through pull and play PL, pull, 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 pull and play PL, pull, pull, pull. PL says, pull, what do we do with it? Circle it, where is it coming to work? I've done all of that, and I've even gone to the back side of the card. So everything that we've already talked about, I've done at this point. Now, I come into these 3 things. I want to get a little more variety. So I can say to this side of the room, say it. They would say, pull, pull, pull. Middle of the room, I'd say spell it. You would say PL. This side of the room, I'd say sentence. You would say pull and plain PL. Pull, pull, pull. Okay, so let's practice using the same sound. Spell it. Say it. Sentence. Pull and plain PL. Pull, pull, pull. Spell it. Spell it. Say it. How many times? Pull, pull, pull. Sentence. Pull and plain, PL, pull, pull, pull. Reminiscent of what we just did with the phonics charts a little bit ago. Name, sound, picture. I'm pulling it out. I'm getting it out of parrot status, and I'm making them think and watch and be able to apply the card. So say it, spell it, sentence. Here's one just for fun. Say it. Check it. Say it. I. Spell it. Why? Because I told you to. Spell it. Why? Don't be argumentative. Spell it. Why? And exactly what you just did. I had a little boy one time, and he raised his hand and he said, Miss Wieler, we are spelled. We're not trying to question you. So again, have a little fun with them, and it just went way over your head. Try it again. Say it. I. Spell it. Why? Sentence, I imply why, I. And that probably is the most difficult special sound you will teach all year long, and it's a good thing it comes in the first chart so you have all year to practice it. So after you've done this, the class will practice. You will have the words up on the board that the students will circle a special sound, they'll read, and then we have the blend B cards, that pla, 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 that would match those sounds. So that's how we would finish out teaching a special sound.
Do you ever help your mom in the garden?
When it's the springtime, oh, check. I sure like the way Megan's eyes are on me. When it's the springtime and things are starting to grow again, usually there's what's called weeds. And those weeds are not a good thing. So your mom might take a teeny tiny shovel, not a great big one because she doesn't want to dig up the whole plant, just a teeny tiny one. And that small shovel is called a spade. In spade, S-P, spook. Your mom might use a spade in the garden to get rid of the weeds, to plant new plants. In spade, S-P. Now let me tell you what some students do. In spade. Just listen. Put your hand to your ear. 3 times. You're ready to say it. Ready, begin. In spade, S-P. In spade, S-P. Say it. Nope. Remember, when you say it, it's just a sound. Spell it.
S-P.
Sentence.
S-P.
All by yourself. Columbia. Good girl. Now, where does it come in a word, Hannah? Read the word that has a capital letter, Alita. Spain is a country, that's why it has a capital letter. What about this, Darren? Come here, Darren. Let me show you where your spine is. Turn around. Your spine starts right here and it goes all the way down. That's your spine. Kenny?
Stop.
Check it.
Spot.
Because there's special sound, Brianna.
S-P.
You know it. Let's take a look at the words on the board way up at the top. What do I circle, birthday girl?
S-P.
How many vowels, Blake Norwood?
2.
First one says it's. Second one is. Read the word, Emma. Say it again.
Spine.
Selena, what do I circle?
S-P.
How many vowels, Rihanna?
1.
Read the word, John.
Spend.
Use it in a sentence, Darren.
I spend my money.
I will spend my money. Yes. No, we want to be wise with that, don't we? Leanders, what do I circle?
S-P.
How many vowels? Blake?
1.
How do I mark it?
Smile.
Girls, read it.
Spill.
Be careful not to spill your milk at lunch. SP says, one more time so I know you know it. In spade, SP. Let's take a look at our blends. Ready? Darren.
Skate.
Josh.
Spade.
Brianna.
Speed.
Shelby, I'm having trouble with your names.
High.
Columbia. Students watching. Rihanna.
Spud.
Say it again. Say it again.
Stud.
There, John.
Scared.
And the last one, Blake Norwood.
Scared.
Now, I have a thinking question for you. Read this blend for me. Brady. What could I add to the end of this blend to make a word?
All right, so that kind of gives you an idea of the speed with these special sounds, but did you notice they went from one thing to the next? They went from whole class to groups to individuals, so everybody was covered. And then some days, teacher can mark words up on the board like you saw me do, and other days the students can do that. So just variety even there, but again, was there routine established? And you could tell that that process had already been set. So now that brings us to the third part of our phonics class, which is our application and review. Obviously, I'm giving you ranges of time. If you are teaching kindergarten, that's where you would use a board game, and as well as words up on the board. A board game, learning games are just this fun set of 10 games used for motivation and to recognize those students who have answered the questions correctly. There's a set for numbers class that can be used in phonics or in numbers, and then there's a set of phonics charts and games. The Old MacDonald that we sung to, that barn and the animals, is part of the phonics set. There's also booklets that go along with them that give you additional ideas. Some of you are homeschool families. There are 8.5 by 11 versions of these just written specifically for homeschool, so that you can have the same things that you've seen in a classroom setting. They're working individually with your child. That Old MacDonald song is included in these tip booklets that come with your set. So that's one way
We
to
have a
evaluate.
tree, but our tree doesn't have any apples on it yet. These are called apple blossoms. Before the apple comes, the tree is covered with beautiful apple blossoms. And I'm going to let you pick one of the apple blossoms off and take it back to your seat if you can tell me all about capital A and little a. I'm going to get my card, and let's have Dan stand. Dan, say it with me. Capital A, little a. A says a as in apple. A says a. Come and pick an apple blossom off. Stephen, stand right here, sweetie, off the tree. Take it back to your seat. Stephen, capital, real loud, capital A. A says a. Come and pick a blossom. You know what? If the blossoms are gone, then apples will come onto the tree. I see some letter A's up on the board. Now I want you to look at this word. Do you see the letter A in that word? Oh, let's see if someone can be my helper. I want Kaylee to take my teacher chalk, and Kaylee, you circle the letter A in this word. See if she can find it. Kaylee, what letter is that?
Capital A.
It is capital A. And Katie, what does capital A say? Good. Now I want you to look. We're going to see if we can help her, because I think if she looks at that word again, she might find another A. She found it. What is that letter, Kaylee? Tell the boys and girls what it says. She knows what A says. Kaylee, you can pick this apple and take it back to your seat. Good.
Okay, so that was a quick way to review the sounds and get to the individual. Now, when you do first, second grade, this is a secret. This is how the students will be better prepared for their phonics test. We don't teach a test, but we prepare them for it. So a mini sheet is simply a scrap sheet of paper. And I'm going to call out 4 sounds. We're actually going to do it right now to see how well you've been paying attention to everything phonics. All right, so I'm going to say, and I'm going to give you the direction, just like I would on a test. Every time I do a mini sheet practice, it's the same direction as a test. When I do phonics oral for a test, I always say it 2 times. When I do a combination for arithmetic, it's 1 time. So phonics, I say things twice. Arithmetic, I say things once. I'm going to point to my mouth. I'm going to say eyes, and that means everybody's eyes are on me. I'll say it twice when I point to you. That's when you can write. If you were my real students and I saw you writing before I pointed to you, I would say eyes, eyes, until I had, because I want you to watch it twice. Okay, so write the blend, I say. Write the blend, I say. Now, just so we're clear, a blend is a consonant and a vowel, or a special sound and a vowel. I would not review that for the students for a test. This is just so that you all are on the same page with me. Eyes, free, free. Next, sh, sh. Next, that. Next, play, play. In my classroom, I wouldn't go that fast between them, but y'all are adults, so let's see how you did. How did you spell free? I am so glad to hear F-R-E, but maybe you didn't volunteer your answers and you have on your paper F-R-E-E. If you have F-R-E-E, you didn't write the blend, you wrote the word, so put a -1 next to your blend. On a first grade phonics test, you have a 99 right now. So that's important because in practicing these mini sheets, then they're not surprised when I get to a test and I say write the blend, or I say write the word. That means two different things. Okay, the next one I said was sha. How did you spell it? S-H-U. The next one was tha, T-H-A. The next is play. Now if you put P-L-A-Y, again, you spelled a word correctly, but the point is you wrote the word and not the blend. So a mini sheet keeps me aware. I walk around the room, I'm checking during a mini sheet. I have students up to the board during a mini sheet so everybody can see what we're doing. So that's how we prepare them for a test. K4 does not have a written test. They have oral evaluations 8 times a year. That's built into your curriculum. K5, beginning week 7, you would have a test, oral and written. So you're going to walk through that process. Grade 1 and 2, here's a sample of a first grade test where they have to write the letter your teacher says, write the blend your teacher says, and then they're reading words. Now when they read words, you don't ask them questions. If they're stuck on this word, you don't say how many vowels. A test is an evaluation of what they know without your help. So you gotta just close your mouth and let them do what they can do following that time. Now up to this point, you've not seen one workbook page. And here's the misconception of Abeka book. You see behind me 2 tables of workbooks. Abeka does not teach from a workbook. The workbook is the smallest part of your instruction. In fact, it's not instruction. We will never, ever, ever teach from a workbook page. All of this has been your teaching. Phonics is oral. So then, built into either independent seat work time for 1st or 2nd grade, or as part of your phonics review time in kindergarten, you do the worksheet together. 1st, 2nd grade does it by themselves. In none of your elementary classrooms, kindergarten, 1st or 2nd grade, ever, soapbox, ever should you have the paper out and teach from the paper. That's not the point. You teach from your curriculum, which gives you that oral instruction. But because workbooks are application, let's take a quick minute. For 4-year-olds, you would walk them through during that phonics review time, designated time for this. That's where you would ask the questions. They use a pencil, they use a crayon, depending on what your instruction is, as they go through and they mark these papers. For 5-year-olds, same thing. Read the directions. Sometimes students can read, other times you would read, and they have to discern which is the appropriate word, write the vowel. There are fun with phonics pages. This is an application. It's what can they take from what you taught to put into written form. None of those pages are graded. They are checked, smiley faces, stickers, stamps, but they don't receive a grade. They do not affect or get averaged with the phonics grade. It is purely for application. Grades 1 and 2, the key word is seat work, which means it's independent work. The seat work pages will never match what you just taught that day. See, there are lesson numbers at the bottom of the page. If I'm teaching lesson 32, what I teach in lesson 32 phonics will not be on lesson 32 workbook page. What I teach in lesson 32 phonics will show up in their workbooks, lesson 34, lesson 35. So I will have time to teach it, review it a couple days, and then they have it on their paper, which is why they can do it completely independently. Okay, so that's the purpose of this. Independent work, one side of one page per day, application keyword of previous phonics instruction. It is not graded, but you do check it, sticker stamps, highlighters, all that good stuff, during your built-in seat work check, which is part of your schedule in the curriculum binder. So So there are 3 times during your day built in to check this seat work. And it's checking for accuracy, it's checking if there's, a lot of errors, then you know who to call on a little bit more, and then those get sent home. Here's a sample of 2nd grade. 2nd grade different from 1st grade in the fact that there's a lot more application where they come up with the words themselves. This hasn't been a session on language, so why am I showing it to you? Because in kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade, language does not have its own class. That starts in 3rd grade. So any language concept, alphabetical order, root words, suffixes, the rhyming words, anything like that will be taught as part of the phonics class. And then again, it is practiced, applied in our language seat workbooks. So same thing, taught us phonics, do demonstrate visually, key words, and rules are at the top of the page. This is part of the the creative writing element as well. So that is independent work, but taught as part of your phonics. Handbook for reading, just a real quick shout out to this. We will touch on it a little bit more later. But Handbook for Reading is the book that a lot of times if you have a struggling student, if you have a new student to reading, this is the book that people work through to teach students to read. You could teach an adult to read from the Handbook for Reading. You could teach a struggling student to read. It is built into the curriculum for grades 1 and 2. Part of reading circle time. The rest, after this break, the rest of our day is purely reading. So we are going to come up to this book again. But I just want you to know it is part of the reading time, but it is application of the phonics. I know we've spent quite a bit of time on phonics, but I cannot do reading without phonics. They go together like peanut butter and jelly. You cannot have one without the other. And then grades 3 through 6, I will show you how to use it with the struggling readers. So certainly how we will end this session, phonics is the key that unlocks the door to reading. If you teach a combination class, kindergarten, 1st grade, 1st, 2nd grade, kindergarten through 2nd grade, phonics instruction needs to be kept separate. There are other things that you can combine, but the rate that you teach phonics is too different, that you really need to keep those grade levels separate. Transitions that we've been doing, I mentioned curriculum song downloads. There are fun song books for 4-year-olds all the way up to 6th grade. We're going to sing this song as our break song. So after we're finished, then you can take your break. If you come back, I'm 5 minutes over my time, so instead of a 10:15 return, come back by 10:20, and then we'll get back on schedule. Not so bad for summer vacation, right? So everybody stand. You can listen this first time, watch this motions.
There was a little turtle, he lived in a box. He swam in the puddle, he climbed on the rocks. He snapped at a mosquito, he snapped at a flea. He snapped at a minnow and he snapped at me. He caught the mosquito, he caught the flea. He caught the minnow and he didn't catch me.
All right, now try it with those motions. And by the way, feel free to come up here and look at books and things that are
There was a little turtle, he lived in a box. He swam in the puddle, he climbed on the rocks. He snapped at a mosquito, he snapped at a flea. He snapped at a minnow and he snapped at me. He caught the mosquito, he caught the flea. He caught the minnow but he didn't catch me.
And one more announcement, when it gets to 10:20 and we start again, you'll hear music. That music is to draw you back into this room. All right, enjoy your break.
I saw you go off to the side. I want to bring it side.
Yes.
Did I hear somebody say freezing?
No. I said
Is it too cold in here? Or? I'm fine. Please, it's cold.
Yeah,
so much
Well, it was 8 o'clock. Didn't they go outside? Yeah, for a little bit.
I don't know if I
Hey, how are you? Well, I was a couple minutes late. He's not a mosquito and he snapped at me. I haven't seen the trend learning.